Hello, I'm back. For episode 57, uh, personal space. This is not apparent. This is a bronze episode on my list. There's bronze, bronze, silver, and gold, and going from how much people want to see the reaction to how much people want to see the reaction even more. Well, I don't know where I was going with that. So yeah, I'm watching this one. I've looked at the list, and the more concerned I get, considering for seasons 4 and 5, it seems that every single episode in those seasons are on the list. So that's a little bit concerning. I'll give an update on what's been going on. Freaking Jonathan confronted Martin. He's going insane. Even more so. Jonathan Sims is not having a good time. He's on the brink of mental collapse, it seems. I want to confirm that every episode every episode in the last season's on this list. Not all of them are like gold or silver, but literally every episode. I don't know how I'm going to manage that. I don't. Every episode season 4 is basically on here. Yeah. It's gonna be a little tough. I don't think I'll be able to get every episode on this list recorded. So sorry about that. I got a haircut. It's a little blocky seeming because I guess I need to grow it out a little more. And then my hair got straightened, so that's that blocky effect. It's fine. I'll just have to grow it out a little bit. So yeah, I'm listening to this episode. I think this episode only. And then, I'll be trying to keep doing my memorization, even though I'm not good at it, and especially when I'm listening to things, I can't focus at all. What happened in previous episodes? Vampire hunter guy, second part of his statement. He killed a man. Pest control guy. Jane Prentice's landlord. Is that her name? Jane Prentice. Her landlord was sus. He was sus. He set himself on fire, and the smell was the same apparently. And it's like, there's more like her. More of those two fucking. What's the accent again? Like Scottish or something? No, like the Cockney. The two Cockney Beacon and Hope mover guys everywhere. There's that one guy, apparently, the guy at the nursing home, the taken ill. Yeah, the nursing home, that spooky nursing home where everyone was sick and disgusting. The guy who took over was apparently the owner of this house in that episode with the bug in the extermination guy. So they're all related apparently. Jane Prentice and the nursing home cases are related in some way. Interesting. So then I'm gonna read over the summary. The summary of the last episode, the one with the vampire guy. Apparently he did not die, and then Jonathan Sims was like, "Fuck, you lied to me." He was going insane. That's what was happening. He was going absolutely wacko. And then it's like, I'm sorry, I lied on my job application. And then Jonathan Sims went cuckoo, and he went like, thank God. It's like, Jonathan Sims, please. Stanley Kubrick. True. He killed a guy accidentally. Yikes. Vampires apparently burn good. Hey, the guy from the last episode before that, the pest control guy, he was he set that guy on fire really easy. He put a fire under his elbow or something, and the guy like burst into flames or something. And like apparently vampires burn easily too. So maybe that's the connection. There's a bunch of stuff that just seems like it might be connected, but I don't know if it is connected. There's the burning. Oh yeah, he also said that the guy when he touched his neck, he was like super hot, like he was burning or something. Yeah, there's like the burning feeling that a bunch of people have felt in different episodes, and there's like apparently people who catch on fire easily, and there's people who smell weird when they burn, and like a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what's connected and what's not. Okay. This vampire hunter dude was not having it good. He killed final vampire. She was full of spiders. Are vampires full of spiders to you? I don't know if these people were vampires, or if this guy just could notice, like, monster people. Like, I don't know. Or there's he talked about, like, one of them being able to coerce him out of the room somehow. Like they were able to coerce him out of the room somehow, and he was like, that felt weird. He was like, no one's ever been able to do that before. And then the person burst into spiders, I think. Okay. He confronts Martin. Parapsychology. What is parapsychology? What is parapsychology? It's the alleged psychic phenomena. How do you get a degree in parapsychology? Degree in parapsychology. Is there anything that exists that gives a degree in parapsychology? What? How do you get it? How do you... Was it that much of a lie? Diploma on... Wow. There's no current bachelor's degrees available in parapsychology studies in the United States. I guess in... degree in parapsychology UK? The University of Edinburgh. Not in the US, but apparently there's one in the UK. University of Edinburgh. I don't know how to say it. Edinburgh? I don't know. In ESP research? Maybe he got it here. Maybe he got it here. We lied about where he got it, and that was there, apparently. Martin, please. Well, how did you come up with that? He said he applied to every single place he could and just added I just made up a bunch of stuff on his resumes. Did he and he said they took interest in him because of it. Where did he think of putting degree, did he say PhD? PhD in parapsychology? Like, why would he think of that? Why did he think that would get him a job? I don't know. I mean, it worked, but also, Martin. Okay, I'll watch the actual episode now. Okay. Sure. Personal space. Episode 57 of the Magnus Archives. Hey, there's no ads at the beginning, which is super strange to me. It's like, what? No ads? That's insane.
Rusty Quill presents
Ooh, the talking's like at an
Magnus
okay
Archives.
volume. Maybe I can add up. I can raise my volume a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me go back to my attempts to memorize.
Episode 57. Personal space.
Spooky.
Statement of Carter Chilcott regarding his time spent in isolation aboard the space station Daedalus.
How do I mess up
September 2007.
the genders so easily when apparently they state the pronouns at the beginning of the freaking thing? Okay, I'm a fool. That's why I'm bad at paying attention. Apparently.
We're all alone out there. I know the statistics, how big the universe is, the probabilities and proximities and the promises of other beings out there among the stars. But I've been there. There's nothing. Nothing but empty, uncaring void, lacing dead worlds and dead stars all together like a tapestry of lonely meaninglessness.
Okay.
Things that existed for the smallest sliver of a fraction of a moment in the existence of the universe and
True.
extinguished just as quickly. And when we are at last gone forever into the quiet emptiness of death, there will be nothing left but the cold universe. And nothing shall mark our passing because there is nothing to do so. Dismiss me if you wish to. Take comfort in your escapist fantasies of aliens and visitors from other worlds, but there's no proof I can give you beyond the testimony of one who has spent so very long staring into that black and empty infinity and
Do astronauts go this crazy?
truly knowing what it means to be floating and forsaken in an empty universe.
Okay.
I knew isolation experiments could be rough when I signed up. I'm not some naive fool who thought he'd endure a few quirky side effects for science. No, I'm an astronaut, so I do my research. When I was picked for the project, a long-term isolation study set in conditions of low Earth orbit, I read up on as many previous cases and similar experiments from the past 30 years, familiarizing myself with possible side effects and likely psychological hurdles. It was daunting, to say the least. I wasn't keen to experience some of what the previous tests seemed to promise would happen to my mind, but I didn't feel like I had much choice. I'd had my application to the International Space Station floating in limbo for so long that when a private consortium approached me, telling me they'd recently launched Daedalus, a small manned satellite
Private.
qualified crew members, I jumped at the chance to go.
A private company.
I should have realized that what they meant by crew member was lab monkey, but to be honest, even after I found this out, it didn't do a lot to dampen my enthusiasm for the project. I was going to space. There were two other people technically on the crew. I say technically as I never spent any time with them beyond the trip up to the Daedalus. Their names were Jan Kilbride and Manuela Dominguez. I'm sure that they probably did a lot more looking after the station than I ever did, but as far as I was concerned, I was the only one up there. From the chatter I heard before the mission began, each of us had an experiment of our own to be concerned with, but they were also there as a backup in case something went horribly wrong with mine, since the observing scientists simply didn't have the option of intervening themselves. I remember the man in charge of my particular project, Conrad Lucas, made a face of rather overstated disgust when he told me I wouldn't be up there entirely on my own. I got the distinct impression he was one of those people who feel that ethical restrictions do nothing but bind the hands of the true scientist and leave them at the
Let's go.
mercy of their subjects' limitations. My section of the tiny space station was completely self-contained. There was food, sleeping arrangements, and zero-gravity exercise equipment, all for my personal use. The single entrance to the rest of the satellite was locked and sealed. It could be opened from either side, but on my side it required a code. I did have access to the code in case of emergency, but I had way too much riding on the mission to even think about being responsible for its early termination. I also also had one large domed window. It allowed me a decent view of the Earth below, as well as plenty of chance to stare off into space, which I did quite a lot in those early days. I was told the other astronauts would do their best to avoid that window while doing maintenance or repair work outside. Mission Control had also supplied me with a lot of books and films and other entertainments as, like Conrad had told me at the first briefing, the experiment was into isolation, not boredom. So when I locked that door for the first time, I was feeling in pretty good spirits about the whole thing, to be honest. I knew I was being monitored. There was a little camera mounted on the wall that kept a beady eye on me.
Ew, they're watching you piss. Oh wait, there's a bathroom probably.
But for the most part, I was happy enough to eat, read, and
I was joking, by the way. I don't know how to be funny.
Those assessing my progress would never communicate with me directly, and they might not even be watching a live feed, so if they had opinions on how I was undertaking my task...
I have problems with the surveillance. I'm like, a surveillance in my room? How am I supposed to... Okay.
Too much comfort in the knowledge that there were people watching my every move, as I felt that to find that reassuring would go quite strongly against the spirit of the experiment. I had to really feel alone. That, at least, didn't take too long to set in. I can't honestly see how strapping yourself in to sleep or drinking your juice with a space foil packed on a straw can have much effect on isolation, but I wasn't going to be the one to bring it up. I believe some people would have been more disturbed than others by its location orbiting Earth, but it didn't feel markedly different to me from any of the other isolation studies they conducted over the last few decades. If anything, the silent, rolling green and blue of the Earth far below was another source of comfort. The sure knowledge of the billions of other
It must look so cool from space.
what was right above their heads.
Like, in person, like fireworks, like, the video doesn't even compare.
That was when I was aware I should start to experience some of the more distressing side effects. I'd already passed through listlessness and a bout of insomnia. I hadn't been using my exercise machine properly for almost a fortnight, but I still didn't expect the severity of the hallucinations when they began.
What the heck?
I was woken up by the sound of the door opening, only to find it as tight as it had ever been. Throughout the daytime, I would occasionally hear footsteps, which shouldn't even have been possible in zero gravity. There was also a blackout for about
Super heavy monster.
that may or may not have been real. Certainly we didn't seem to lose power in any other systems, except the lights. So this was all reasonably distressing, but at least it had the advantage of not being unexpected. No, the first warning I got about how bad things were going to get was the spacesuit. The clocks read it as 14:30 UTC, and I was re-watching 28 Days Later, one of the better films that had been provided for my entertainment, when a movement in the window caught my eye. At first I thought it might have been
A
something
spacesuit?
moving past, but then I spotted it. Still at the edge of the domed window, it was a hand. The white, bulky, gloved hand of someone wearing an EVA suit. It started to float slowly across the window, followed by the rest of the arm, then the torso, till almost the whole suit, slowly floating across. I was excited by the idea of seeing another human being at first, even if it was only brief or might compromise some of the work.
Rip.
But as the suit made its painstaking drift across the space outside, it rotated enough that I could see clearly through the suit's visor. There was nobody inside.
Rip.
The floating suit was completely empty, and I started to suddenly get very scared. At last, it had passed right across and off into the night, the other side. I stopped to try and calm myself in the face of what had been a deeply strange thing to watch.
It's strange.
So, but only until I looked again out of that window. There were no more empty floating clothes, but I noticed something that for some reason hadn't dawned on me when watching the empty suit. It was, to put it quite simply, impossible.
Is it?
I
Was
must
Earth gone?
from 100 different angles trying to make sense of it. The Earth was gone. At first, I assumed it must have
Is Simon Fairchild on your ship, sir?
The planet had never been hidden from my position before. If it shifted that way, I would have felt it, I was sure.
That was Simon Fairchild was in that suit. He was going.
Watched for hours.
No, bruh.
We were definitely still moving, and from what I could tell, we still seemed to be moving in some sort of orbit. Without a planet below, I have no idea why we kept the same pattern. Regardless, the sun should have been visible sooner or later. After 2 days of waiting, I finally accepted that the sun and the moon had gone as well. It wasn't completely empty out there. Far off in the distance, I could still see stars, twinkling, probably long dead. But I knew that there was nothing.
Another dead star thing again. Every piece of media I watch.
I remembered the camera. I focused my attention on it and began to scream and shout for help in the vain hope that someone might be watching a feed of it and be able to make contact. I cried and begged and pleaded with that camera.
I'm scared what's gonna happen if he punches in the code.
I was suddenly struck by a terrifying thought. I floated over to it and gently took hold of the cables that fed out from the back into the wall. I followed them along, looking for where they connected to the power or broadcasting apparatus.
It's gonna be what is gonna lead
What I
nowhere.
found instead were a pair of neatly severed wires, transmitting nothing, powering nothing, connected to nothing. The camera had never even been turned on, and certainly not been transmitting anything to Earth. So what data have they been collecting?
Just torture.
Still no idea.
Torture data. For funsies.
It did feel like I gained some small sliver of control back after spending an all too brief hour smashing up the camera. After that, it was time to break out
God,
the
I hate
code
that
and get the door to the
fucking
register
concept.
slide open.
The code doesn't work.
I decided that even if this somehow was simply a really elaborate and convincing trick to examine reactions to certain stimulus in a test environment, it was still far beyond what I had signed up for. One way or another, I decided I
True.
was getting out of this
Bruh.
death experiment. I opened the small safe that contained the passcode document and eagerly broke the seal on its container. I was desperate to get out of that door as soon as possible and took a few moments to memorize it. E109GHT8. I can still remember it vividly, as I entered that code over and over in an attempt to get
It's
the
not gonna
locked
fucking
door
open.
to open. Each time I painstakingly entered it with as much precision as I still had within me.
Awful.
The password
That's just everyday horror. Imagine.
apparently typed in, "No one is coming," and the door remained closed. And that was it. I was trapped alone in a tiny room floating in space. Deserted, empty space. I had plenty of food and water, so starvation wasn't a danger. But sometime in the first week, the clock stopped working. With no timepiece and nothing outside of the sun or moon.
So everything goes bad.
Utterly impossible. If I had to guess how long I spent in that strange exile, I would say somewhere between 3 and 6 months. But that is based solely on my eating and sleeping patterns, which were largely fueled by despair and the quiet, aching terror of being utterly forsaken. I couldn't even read my books or watch anything, as characters seemed dead and lifeless, the emptiness of their artificial existence made plain to me.
Oh.
Conversation stopped. I did not even get the comfort of company in my delusions, though at some point the line between dreaming and reality seemed to blur. I would be sleeping, strapped into my bed in the middle of the void, while at the same time floating through ancient graveyards or the open, empty sea. They weren't hallucinations, though, they were dreams, even if the cold did seem to seep out of them and into the bones of me. I spent so long trying to get that door open, but nothing worked. The mechanisms and electronics were not accessible from my side.
Oh, I have so much to comment on with how that's a good. These concepts are good.
But my hope. That was also when I noticed something else that alarmed me in a very different way. I did some calculations and realized that my food and water levels did not seem to be depleting. For all the time I had been there, in what I could now only think of as my imprisonment, it did not seem like there had been any significant change in my supplies. No one could be restocking me because there was no one but me there. If the food remained static then, did that mean I could remain trapped from this place place for the rest of my life, assuming I even still aged. I began to very seriously consider the idea that I had died, and this was it.
Well,
Don't worry. The way
God,
I
imagine the afterlife is just you being stuck in the room that you died in. Disgusting.
Not
Awful.
I suppose, given I'm alive enough to talk to you, but close enough. I don't know how long I just floated
Book
there,
of Boba Fett.
trapped into my lonely cocoon of a bed, refusing to eat or drink.
I like to sleep when without feeling gravity on you.
After everything else I had
My
done,
weighted blanket, no.
for me to die, but I had to try. When I finally faded from consciousness for what I hoped was the last time, it was the greatest relief I have ever felt.
Dang.
I don't know exactly when I realized I wasn't dead. There were various moments I faded back into consciousness, and I know that I felt the re-entry very hard, but it's difficult to pin down clear thoughts before the hospital. No one's really given me an official account of what happened. Aside from that it became known I was in serious danger of death, and my colleagues on the Daedalus retrieved me and managed to keep me alive until the next opportunity to send me back down. I'm not pushing to know more. Not really. I know what happened. And no rational cover story that they could feed me is going to change it. I haven't followed up with Conrad. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't made any attempt to contact me.
Well, maybe it's like
I
that.
was paid in full, though, which was a surprise. I wanted to tell someone what really happened for almost a year before I found your institute. There's nothing really to be done about it. I wanted to get it off my chest. So, thank you for letting me get it down on paper. Statement ends.
Is it like?
While there's plenty of media coverage of the law.
Is it like that? I mean, I'm thinking of Free Fall and that other one where it's like I looked up and I looked down and then suddenly the fucking floor was gone and it was just empty space for miles. It's like I'm thinking of Free Fall where that guy was stuck falling for like what he thought was months, but for his partner was like 30 minutes or something. Like was he not actually there for months? I want to know. I want to know how long he was there. And in that case, what seemed in like skydiving guy's account, the company was maybe somewhat involved. Like the company was part of it because Jonathan couldn't discover any record of the company existing officially. So, but in this case, I'm wondering if the company involved in this experiment, it does sound kind of sus because it's an independent like research company or something. I wonder if they were involved somehow. They did pay him in full, but maybe they were just being sympathetic or something. I don't know. But interesting. Dang. I got really touched to die. Okay, I'll just continue and see what Jonathan Sims has to say.
In early 2007 by Stratosphere Group, a consortium of
Stratosphere
various scientific and aerospace
Group.
companies. It seems the actual operation of the facility is guarded with a great deal more secrecy by the various organizations involved. Martin was able to confirm that during its 2 years of operation, it did have a total of 3 staff on board. Jan Kilbride, Manuela Dominguez, and Mr. Chilcott. Beyond that, however, there's little that can be retrieved from beyond the wall of corporate bureaucracy.
How long were they there?
During its 2 years,
2 years.
a total of 3 staff in the venture.
For 2 years?
Names stand out. Pinnacle Aerospace, majority owned by the Fairchild family. A large private investment by Nathaniel
Lucas.
Optic Solutions Limited, a relatively benign-seeming company manufacturing specialist cameras for research and industrial application.
Lucas
Who
with a
are
K.
less notable for having their business address listed as being in Ny-Ålesund in Norway. I fear, however, that's as much digging as I can do at the moment without drawing it.
Is that a town that we've heard of before? Oh god, I have to look up the fucking Lucas guy. Ugh. With a K. I feel like I've heard those before. Is that Rainer Lucas? Lucas. Oh, the Lucas family. Uh. Hmm. The Lucas family, which is the one with the girl who, with the family and her like fiance died or something. Peter Lucas, and which is they sponsored the Magnus Institute, the one of those sponsors, and that's why Elias said not to dig into it. Lucas. Interesting. Okay. Okay, let's let him talk.
So it may be wise to let the matter drop. End recording.
Give us your paranoid post statement. Funny TikTok talks.
What are you doing? Sasha, I can't seem to find a new file for the Hilltop Road case. I thought I gave it to you to follow up on the children.
You did, and I gave it back.
Ah, right.
Even if I hadn't, I would very much prefer it if you stay out of my desk.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I didn't realize you were still here, or I would have asked.
Of course.
I'll see if...
What do you have?
Also, John, I have asked before.
What?
Please, don't record our conversations.
Stupid. I thought Sasha had left for the evening. Wanted to have a look in her desk for anything that might shed light on her recent weird behavior.
Jonathan Sims.
It all looked normal, except there were a few scraps of torn
Hilltop
paper.
Road.
They could
The
be
construction
files
site
or
place.
just torn scrap paper. It's hard to tell. I'm at a loss why she would want to destroy files, though. Still, I think I probably need to back off from Sasha for a while after this. I'll just keep an eye from a distance for now. I did find several pictures of her and her new boyfriend, though.
It's real?
What it is. Well, mostly. There's something about him that doesn't seem quite right. Something about the smile, maybe?
He's made of wax.
Of Sasha and Tom, as I'm told his name is, having fun together, but it's hard to put into words exactly, but every one of them looks somehow like a stock photo. End supplement.
Fake ass. Oh my god. Okay. Lots of things to talk about. Fake pictures, apparently. Or they're both fake people, which seems very likely. Okay, what to talk about? One thing, the camera thing and the door thing, it's like they share the same scary concept of like. I guess I'll let the rest of this play. Shareholder commercial license. Okay, sorry. I'll deal with that later. Yeah, the camera and the door thing. It's like it shares the same sort of like unsettling concept of you assuming something, of people letting you assume something to that like comforts you in a way, or like offers you security. And then it being revealed that those things weren't true. Like, him believing all this time that people were watching him, or like there was stuff being recorded in that camera for it to, like, people were gonna watch it, or they were looking after him or something, and documenting things, and he was there for a reason. That was something they assured him of, they tried to assure him of by placing that camera there. But then it was revealed that it was fake. And they also offered him the security of the door. Like, you have the code, here's the procedure to get the code, and do this and this and this, and it being just a lie. And like those two things. The camera thing especially, it's like the security that there's someone there. Like, or going to be someone there. Like, that's a security right there. Even probably, I don't know why it feels more so than the door. It's, you know. And then that being fake is very isolating, it seems. Ooh. The spacesuit. What the heck is that spacesuit doing there? It waves at him. Back. that spacesuit looked at him and said, "Enjoy sky blue." Simon Fairchild, you're always with your fucking. I looked down and the ground wasn't there. What's wrong with you? Okay. Jan Kilbride and Manuela Dominguez. The names sound interesting, but I don't know if I've ever heard them before. Supplemental. Nye Esland. Who? Not. I don't know who that is. I'll have to look and see if I can find it. Nye. Who? NY dash Asland. Asund. I don't know who that is. I'm freaking out. They don't pop up anywhere. Who is that? Okay, let me look them up. Nye Esland. Oh, that's the place. It's not a person. I'm a fool. Okay. Is this the town? No, it's not the town. What was this mentioned? This town. Growing dark. Oh, the singing that guy heard in the darkness cult. They just started saying that. So they were saying the name of a town. Okay. Oh, and that's the town where it's dark forever. It's like it's nighttime for a long time. Okay. All these different things are connected. It makes it seem like everything is like being caused by one thing, which is strange. Like all these things are connected. All the space ones are connected. Like not as in space, like with stars and stuff, but space as in like wide open space, like the falling one and the freaking ocean one and now space one. It's these ones I thought they were connected. They obviously are, since this Simon guy is involved. But apparently it's also being connected with like the town of the darkness cult and the darkness cult, but like it's in my head like the darkness cult is connected to a bunch of other occurrences that have to do with darkness, and like the more things branch out and connect with each other, the more it seems like everything's being caused by like one thing, or like everything, all the things that are causing things are like working together or something. Because this one connected the ending, like the company's connected with like 50 different people, like connecting to a bunch of different things, and I'm like, what? Okay, yeah. What else did I want to say? Oh, the fucking... I never mentioned how Sasha, apparently called not Sasha, was being, like, was volunteered eagerly to investigate taxidermy man wearing a skin suit with glassy fucking eyes filled with sand or whatever. I missed all those details. Ah!
Headphones.
Okay!
What?
I'm talking about horror and you scared me.
What?
I'm talking
Well,
about...
look at your sheets.
Okay.
I have more sheets.
What the heck? as I was saying, what else were they saying? Not Sasha. Sus. Sus being. But they volunteered to go to visit Taxidermy Man. The fucking creepy taxidermy man who's obviously wearing someone else's skin. I like that way. I like the reveal about like at the end where they were like, well, Jonathan Sims is like, well, he had the same name as this missing guy, but like, I look at him, I can't see anything different. His stature's different. His build is different. One weird thing though, for some reason, I look at their hairs and I think, the hair looks exactly the same. But they have different eyes too, so who cares? And then I was like, I sat there for a minute, I'm like, same hair? Why would they have the same hair and nothing else? It's a fucking taxidermist. He's a fucking taxidermy person. What? Yes, he's a taxidermy person. I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. That dude is literally wearing that guy's skin. And I'm like, it's like because they made such a big deal of the pelts and stuff beforehand and the hair, and I'm like, that was so cool. That was one of my favorite reveals, like subtle horror reveals, like at the end. That was my favorite. But yeah, this episode was cool, interesting. I don't know what about this one made people want me to react to it though. I feel like, it's like these connect to stuff, but there's no big like revelation, I don't think, that's been going on. No, I was talking about Sasha. I want to talk about Sasha. I was talking about Sasha and then I got sidetracked by everything else. Sasha volunteered to talk. I was talking about Taxidermy Man. She volunteered to go see Taxidermy Man, but enthusiastically, which is sus. And I'm just thinking the connections between that and her. It's like, it's because she also visits Madame Tussauds all the time, which is weird. She visits Madame Tussauds, and now she's visiting a taxidermy guy. It's like she's drawn to things that are. She's drawn to like fake replications of living things. Like herself. And then there's the thing with her boyfriend, what's his name, like Tom or something. Whew. And he looks fake apparently. My fake, like a stock photo. Rip. She edited them in Photoshop. She edited herself into stock photos. No, it's probably something creepier or something. I keep scrolling down accidentally. I didn't see anything, I swear, but I'm just so close to seeing things, which is awful. Okay. There you go. We've got it. Okay, so that was a cool episode. Don't know what was special about this one, though. Compared to the other ones, like, I'm not calling this episode bad, or, like, any of the other episodes bad, but I'm saying that this was, like, it seemed to have just as many connections and clever little things, connecting things, as, like, the couple last episodes, So I don't know what makes these episodes go on the list and what makes them not. I think the way the list works is that people list out the episodes that they'd like to see reactions to, and then it's like averaged so that like the episodes that most people list show up like that. And I'm like, I just don't know how what made this episode make the cut compared to all the other episodes, because I really liked Still Life. Still Life was great. I liked Still Life, but it wasn't on the list, and I'm like, so I don't know, but I will definitely be back for Observer Effect, I think. I don't know if I don't think it's silver, but it seems interesting. Yeah, Observer Effect soon. But yes, for now, signing off into the next dimension. That was a cool episode. I'm interested. Bunch of fucking things are connected all over. Why? It's like a spider web. It's more like a web. It's not. They're not fractals. The web, like. Okay. Goodbye. Signing off.